Hello everyone, it's RASA VON WERDER from the University of Mother God Church. I'm talking about this fake guy, RASA VON WERDER, RASAVONWERDER from the University of Mother God Church. I'm also known in show business as Kellie Everts, the lady, KellieEverts, the lady who strips for God and dances to save men's souls. They're going to do a movie and maybe a TV series, or a series of movies, or a TV series on my life. I strip for God. You can also see my books. I have 20 published books that I wrote, published, and most of them I illustrated with my photography and my pictures on various venues. I have 20 books. Most of them are on lulu.com. They're also on Amazon and everywhere. RASA under RASA VON WERDER and Kellie Everts. My websites will be listed in the descriptions, so look me up. Alright, so I'm talking about this fake guy. So I met a lady named Reverend Verna Talbot through this man. She was very supportive and very helpful and very nice in the beginning. As usual, she was another con woman, but she wasn't evil. He was really evil. She was not evil, but she was bad. She was an exploiter, but I didn't know that at the beginning. So I became friends with her, and then there became a conflict. I went to visit her. I was a journalist. I owned my own free handout newspaper at the time. It was called Enlightenment. I forgot about that. I didn't mention that. So he got it printed, published for me. I would write it all up. It wasn't very big. It was like 8 to 10 pages, and we'd put it out for free in supermarkets and anywhere where you could put a newspaper for free. And I would put whatever I was doing, whatever I was working on, whoever I interviewed. So I started to interview Reverend Verna Talbot. I went to her house, and she told me about herself. She had started a church called One World Light. She actually had a church charter, and she was a teacher, and you would call it New Age. So it was a combination of yoga and Christianity and New Age, and she was quite a character as well. So we talked, and I began, this series of interviews, and it went on for hours and hours. And something happened, and I honestly can't remember what it was, but I don't know if he convinced me. I think he convinced me, yes, because he was worried about her taking me away from him, and rightfully so, because eventually she did. But she said something. He convinced me that she had control over me, that she had me in a trance, she had put me in a trance, or dominate or something. I don't know what it was. So I said, oh my God, I'm scared, and I said, help me then. Don't let her do this to me. I'm scared. And he then mystically, with his mind, tried to kill her. Now later, when I got real friendly with her and I actually moved in with her, she told me that she saw him meditating and putting a curse on her, and she was driving the car on the highway, and she could feel this force pushing her into the divider, like he was trying to make her have a car accident to go into the divider. But she didn't go into the divider. God helped her. She didn't do it. But that was the conflict between him and her. And it was my fault that I shouldn't have said help me to him, because to him help me meant kill her. I didn't mean that. But so I became friendly with her, and while I was friendly with her, there was a third power present, and that power was the voice. And I would tell him what the voice would be saying to me. The voice was God within me. So the voice was defending me against him, because, see, he was a con man, exploiter, user. And he was using me for sex and support. I didn't want to have sex with him for a long time before we ever had sex. I begged out of it by pretending that I only saw him as a great guru, teacher, that I couldn't see him as a boyfriend. I couldn't see him in that way. I could only see him as this teacher, light, ability, you know, his genius, whatever. I don't remember what flattery I used to beg off. But finally it grew thin. You know, my excuses grew thin, and I was forced into sex. He was a pot-bellied pig. You know, he had a belly like a round, like a big, you know, bowl. And he was, to me, totally sexless, totally unattractive, totally nothing, you know. But again, as I said, when you go through life, everybody wants something. Either they want sex, usually men, not some, and in his case, he wanted sex and support, and or else they want money. So when I got away from him and she helped me escape him, she wanted money, money, money. And later she said to me, I'm not demanding anything from you like sex. No, no, you're not demanding sex. You sure aren't. But you sure are using me for money, you fucking bitch. And she was a fucking bitch. And I will describe her. And now I've almost done with him. But I'm going to, hopefully through this video, get done with this bastard prick douchebag. And then get on to her, from the frying pan into the fire, so to speak. So, okay, so now I was doing a lot of sewing, and I was doing a lot of meditating, and I was doing a lot of, you know, mind over matter, you know. I was really getting advanced. I was really finding the God within me. God was speaking to me every day. And he would ask me questions about what did the voice say, and I tell him this. And I came up with a lot of secrets. Like he asked me where did cancer come from? And I said, I meditated, and God told me it came from the cells themselves becoming abnormal. And that was a long time ago. That was way, way before they came up with that diagnosis. And I told him that, and he was impressed. And there were many other things. He would ask, you know, my voice. And I knew all kinds of stuff, and all kinds of psychic things happened, you know. But one day, he came home, and he said, and he said to me something, I don't know what. And I said, I'm leaving you. Because the voice took me away from him. My own development, my own contact with God, was my liberty, my liberation. He was startled out of his mind, and he said, I can't let you leave me. I said, why not? He said, because you know too much. You know everything. I have taught you everything I know. So he says, you're not ready to leave me. And I had my sewing box there, because I did a lot of sewing. And he takes out this big needle, and he says, if you can put this needle through your hand, like I do, and make an instant repair, then I'll know you're ready to leave me, and then I'll let you leave me. Then I knew he was nuts. That was the moment I knew he was nuts and he was dangerous. And I said, well, let me ask my voice. So I asked my voice. I said, the voice says, why? And he says, oh, to please me, to please me. And I said, well, let me say what the voice says. The voice says, why should I please you? You're not trying to please me. And all of a sudden, he looked confused and befuddled. And later on, Verna Talbot told me, at that moment, the light of God took him over. And just, because you were in danger, and God just took him over and befuddled him. And he became very, very confused and disoriented. And he couldn't talk anymore, and he couldn't think anymore. And he excused himself and went to bed. And I was saved. And then I called Verna Talbot soon after that. I think it was the next day or the day after, very soon, within a week. And I told her, look, I'm not safe with this guy. He's crazy. But I have nowhere to go. I would like you to help me get out of here, out of this apartment, and be with you. And she came over. She had a car. She had an apartment. She was a manager of an apartment building. She came over, and we packed up. And I left 90% of my stuff behind. I only took one suitcase with my essentials. And I left behind almost all the clothes that I had. You know, I just took enough clothes for a week, let's say. Because I was so worried about him coming back. And every time the bus stopped, because he would go by bus. I don't remember if I would. Sometimes I would. Sometimes. So I was so scared. I said, "Oh, I think he's coming. I think he's coming." You know, every time the bus would stop, and I was scared to death of him now. Scared to death. And so I quickly packed up everything I had and went to her place and just abandoned all my stuff. Now later on, I'll tell you one funny thing. She found out from other people who knew him that he tried to do his demonstration of where he put the pin, again at the Knickerbocker Hotel, wherever, put the demonstration of the pin through his hand and make an instant repair, and he put it through and he began to bleed profusely, and he screamed like crazy, and he ripped off his turban with the pain or something, and they was on the first floor, and he jumped out the window and disappeared, and they didn't know where he ran to or where he went. And so that was the Prince Nutty, the fake bogey yogi, who I spent 2 years with, who I learned a lot from. And now I was with Reverend Verna Talbot, my first guru, and I went from the frying pan into the fire. To be continued.